Alright guys, you're after a vintage dress watch? Have you thought about looking on AliExpress? I had neither, but when I was looking through, seeing what was in there, trying to find something interesting, I stumbled upon this one. And it is actually a vintage piece. So apparently this is a 70s watch, so it's old new stock. Seems to be the legit thing from what I can tell. It's also a really great size, but we'll talk about that as we get into the review a bit more. But more importantly, it's an absolutely fantastic price. So I paid about £25 for this. I think it was a little bit under. So cracking value, especially for a vintage piece. But the question is it any good? Let's get down to it and find out. So this is the box it comes in, just a plain cardboard box, no branding or anything. And then all we've got in here is the watch, nothing else. So we'll just get all this out of the way. And then we'll get right down to it. So before we start talking about it properly, I just want to mention something about the dimensions. So we'll get into that. So we've got a thickness of 10.8, got a diameter of just a smidge under 36. So the listing actually says it's 39, but as you can see it is 36. So they kind of messed up a little bit there. When it comes to the lug width, got 19mm, which isn't ideal, a little bit annoying. 18 would have been better, or 20 obviously. So getting a different strap might be a little bit awkward. When it comes to the lug to lug, it's coming in at very compact 43.8. So really nice dress watch dimensions, as you can see. So before we talk about the dial, let's quickly talk about the rest of this. So we've got a fully polished case, simply finished, but nice and slim, a little bit of curvature to those lugs. Got an unsigned crown, quickly zoom in and show you that, but plenty of grip on that, so no issues with using it. And you can see we've got a nice dome on that crystal. So the crystal on this is actually acrylic, so I won't be doing a sapphire test on this one. And then I'm going to zoom back out, talk about the strap quickly. So it's a faux croc strap, not my favourite, but I think it does actually go with this style of watch, to be fair. Although if you don't like it, changing out, as I said earlier, might be a little bit awkward because it is 19mm. As you can see there, we've got 19mm genuine leather strap. We've got same polished buckle, but unsigned. And then if we flip back around, show you the case back again. Get a zoom in on this. Wrong way around. You can see we've got the Shanghai there, and then we've also got at the bottom the number 7120921. So that's the model number, and it is a screw down case back. I'm not entirely sure what the movement is. I think I've got some information on it, but if I'm wrong, let me know down in the comments. So it's a ZSH 19 jewel movement, 21,600 bph, and it's a hand wind mechanical only. And here is the dial. So you can see we've got the Shanghai at the top there, and then we've also got our logo, which is actually applied just above that. The rest of it is just printed, the text. And then you can see we've got that Fang Zen at the bottom. Apparently that means shockproof or shock resistant. And then just below that you can see the 19 Xuan, I think that's how you pronounce it, which is jewels. As I said earlier, 19 jewel movement. So we've got applied indices, which look quite nice. There isn't any lume on them, but again, this kind of watch, dress watch, you don't really expect that. No lume on hands either. One slight issue I have got with this is the hands are a little bit on the short side. Would have been nicer if they were a bit larger, because the hour hand especially does look a little bit lost. So, not ideal, but I don't think it ruins it too much. The thickness of them is quite nice, they match the indices, same kind of style, so it blends in nicely. And then you've got that little red tip on the second hand as well, just for a little pop colour. So, as I said, not got any lume. We've also not got sapphire because it's acrylic. In fact, if I zoom back in, because it is acrylic, I don't know if this is going to come up on camera. I have got a couple of little tiny marks on it already. Yeah, one at the bottom there. You can probably just about see. So that's something to be aware of. It is obviously going to scratch up a little bit easier. But then you can probably clean it up with a bit of polywatch. But I actually don't mind it at the moment. If it gets any worse, I probably will do that. Before we wrap this up, I'll quickly show you the movement in action. So it's just a push-pull ground. Pop it out once, just the one position. You can see the second hand's still going, so we don't have hacking. And then obviously you can just change the time. Pop it back in, and then obviously you've got hand winding. Because as I said, it is a mechanical hand wind only, no rotor. All works well enough, but it is a fairly basic movement from what I can tell. But there's not much else to mention now, so all that's left to do is show you what it's like on wrist, and then we'll wrap this up. So this is what it looks like on my 7-inch wrist, and I think it does look really good. It does look a lot more expensive than it actually is, and I actually don't even mind this strap too much. I think it goes with the watch really well. And I do really love this case. So slim and sleek, and the fact that it's polished just catches the light really nicely. And so do those indices as well. Again, would have been nice to have slightly larger hands, the only real issue I have. But other than that, again, for the price, you can't really complain too much. They're basically giving it away. As I say, I paid less than £25 for this, and I think for that price, it's absolutely fantastic. So if you're after an inexpensive dress watch, this is definitely a great option. But if you've got a bit more of a budget, I'll leave links to a couple of other dress watches I've reviewed. But that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.